Hello, this is the first BOBI Podcast. We will be going over to Lincoln, where the BOBI team, or three of the BOBI team, will be interviewed by Matt Tuck from LCRFM. We will be talking about 4 bands that are going to be appearing, or have already appeared actually, at a BOBI gig. And that is Now Disconnect, Who Shot Frank, The Thought Hooligans, and Interplanetary Trash Talk. So over to Lincoln.
Approximately 11 minutes past 11 here on a Monday evening. It's time for me to introduce Simon Barnabas, Liz and Terry Martin, who are 3 of the 4 organisers of BOBI, the Boston Originals Band Initiative. You're going to correct me now and say bands, aren't you?
Yeah, we are.
Hello.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having us.
No problems at all. Now, BOBI, please explain the concept, because I've had many bands on who are associated with BOBI, but you're the guys to ask.
Well, where do we begin?
At the beginning. At
the beginning.
Shall we begin where we met in the thatched cottage to have a discussion about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
As long as it doesn't go weird.
No, don't we won't go with
No,
it,
we
yeah.
didn't burn it down.
No, we didn't, did we? Is that where we met? Is that where
We
you
met in utter despair, didn't we? Just heads in hands. How are we going to do something? Go on, Terry.
Yeah, well, that's the first time I met you, so...
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I feel,
Oh, no, it
I
wasn't,
feel
was
he's
it?
been in my life for so long, Terry.
Well, it has been a
Yeah.
couple of years, but I think it wasn't. I thought it was the Eagle.
Well, the long and short of it is that we
As you can see, dear listener, they all agree on everything.
Yeah.
I forget a lot of stuff.
Fan of
I walk into
democracy.
the middle of Lidl now and just think, why am I here? What's the meaning of life? So basically, we are both in the original bands. We love original music, and we thought Boston, in particular, has lost pretty much an outlet for bands who write their own stuff. And with about 10 years ago or so, we lost the Axe and Cleaver and the Indian Queen, which were proper viable music clubs, weren't they, in pubs. And Boston used to be a viable stop for bands who were touring, coming up from Norwich. You'd come through Boston, Peterborough, Boston, you go on to Hull. But, I think even Peterborough's struggling a bit with the notable exceptions, So basically we thought, let's put something together just for bands who write their own stuff. How can this work? How could it be potentially financially viable? Where can we do it? And we sort of piloted, I suppose, things, proto-Bobbies, and my band, Tiny Forehead, we did pretty much a monthly, every 2 months thing at the Eagle in Boston. But the floor was going to go through literally onto the people underneath. It was like when people pogoed it, it used to like bend.
And that's the last chapter of any book, isn't it?
Yeah. And I know that, punk, you think, well, let it fall through. Let the goth girl collapse onto the guy underneath in his Alsatian. But it's all right until you find the goth girl's dad's a lawyer,
Exactly.
So we thought we'd better not do that. So we met in the old thatched cottage, didn't we? And thought what we're going to do. And then basically you need a pub with a separate venue, like a separate room, because you can't charge normal regular punters to come in their own pub. And we found one, didn't we?
Yep.
We did.
You did.
Well, you did, I think, Simon.
Yeah. Do you want to take over, mate? Because I'm already boring
We were
myself.
walking around all over the place, didn't we, looking at pubs.
And we found...
There's a lot of drinking involved.
A lot of drinking involved.
Simon found the Queen of Spades in Boston, which is a bit of an estate pub.
Yeah.
He means that in the nicest way possible.
Fabulous reputation it had.
Yeah.
But it had the ideal function room. It was completely separate. It's got its own toilet, its own bar. Although the first day we went there, it smelt really horrible.
But that's the sign of a good pub.
I think we've got used to the smell.
Yeah. But then Terry put some deodorant on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And the landlord was good.
And the landlord, he
Angry
was.
dog.
He was just.
He's a ledge.
It's a ledge.
Yeah.
I think he was just looking at maybe ways of brightening the pub up and diversifying a little bit. So he saw us as the perfect
diversion.
Yeah.
So when we talk about diversifying, I think he's found it.
I think he has. Yeah.
He didn't know what he was taking on, poor guy.
I don't think he did.
He was a very gracious. He's one of them landlords / people in life who take a risk, and God bless them.
We need those.
We came to him like 4 weirdos, cap in hand, and he put us on. So anyway, we use the function room at the Queen of Spades. It's quite big, Queen of Spades is sort of like a semi-Art Deco-y pub, isn't it? Maybe 50s though, and but it's got a nice venue. Put on first Bobby, and it went down really well. And we decided to put on 4 bands every time, and a vinyl DJ, which is really Terry and Liz, basically. And you're training Marv now, aren't you?
Yeah, we're training Marv.
Hang on, you've just mentioned the magic word vinyl.
Oh yeah,
Of course, it's got to be vinyl.
Hasn't it?
It's got to be vinyl, and it's got to be local.
Yeah. A bit scratchy.
Like some of Terry's cuts, they like jump around, like, but it's all good.
It all
stuff.
adds to the ambience.
It does. Yeah.
You have to sort of weight down the Binatone record arm with the 50 pence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
kids,
like,
that's money that we used to use.
They still make 50 pences.
Yeah, they do.
And 4 bands, and originally, and still mainly to a degree, we mix up the genres. We don't sort of go ridiculous, so you wouldn't put on death metal with folk, but generally speaking,
Death folk.
Yeah, well, there is. I mean, you got the Old Boy the Fens.
Yeah.
We're fast approaching that.
Dark folk, yes.
Yeah,
dark folk.
They are.
Very dark. Anyway, we have like an eclectic set of bands.
So
And,
without wanting to spoil the magic,
yeah.
we're recording this on the 31st of May.
1st of May.
So you've got 4 bands on tonight,
got
haven't you?
Tonight,
Yeah.
Corking set of bands tonight.
So although it's not going to advertise that gig, because it's gone already, kids, this is the 9th of June. Is it the 9th? Yeah, 9th of June, yeah.
9th of June.
Yeah, so, but it's a good example of the 4 different genres of bands you can have on.
And you can listen to, and we'll be working with these guys again, I know it.
Yeah, and we'll be playing some of their music here on the show tonight, so you've got a good idea of what you missed.
Yeah.
But if you want to explain the genres, because I've got just in front of me, I've got Who Shot Frank
Yeah.
with Feed Me Rocks. But I know, even with my restricted mind, that they're very different from the band I'm going to play after that. Now disconnect.
They are very different. And I mean, I put in the sort of mini review, I do like sometimes a tiny bit of a taste about what I think the bands sound like. I'm the guy who selects them and puts them on. It's Marv who writes up the review, as it were. And I have to do it quite quick. I have lots of music to listen to, and I suppose I am old enough to have a bit of a database. And I just go on first impressions. Yeah, I just thought, first of all, Who Shot Frank? It's quite a good name, isn't it? Who did indeed? Who's Frank? More to the point.
Reading their blurb, they don't want you to know.
No. Well, what if it's true?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's some Frank at the bottom of a river. I mean, I don't want to condone crime.
But if it makes a good name for a band,
yeah, I can't be picky, really, can I, Matt? Either. I mean, but I thought they were very Britpop, sort of less mainstream Britpop, mixed with a bit of, I thought, House of Love.
I do like the House of Love.
Yeah, I mean, just first impressions. I thought a bit of that going on, but they are quite original as well. They're not like derivative of any of those, but that's what I thought. Certainly got a lot of energy, and really excited to put them guys on.
What nothing you want about? Can I talk now? Throw a week in a bag and I'll head south. He won't find
That was Who Shot Frank with Feed Me Rocks. I think you've hit it on the head there. I think a bit of a House of Love in there, a bit of alternative, Britpop.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like that.
I don't know. I mean, they're young chaps from what I can see. Were they born?
We've not met them, have we?
No.
I've not met them. Have you met them?
They're quite elusive. No,
Are
I've
they?
not met them.
You're elusive.
I don't meet any
The
of the
elusive Who Shot Frank.
Yeah, I don't really meet a
Have
lot
we
of the
not
bands
played
before
with
they come
them
on.
No.
I thought we played with them once.
If we have, I can't remember.
It's just a drug.
Oh, I know.
haze, wasn't it?
It's the other friend. There's another one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
At this point, Terry took his medicine.
There's a lot of bands with Frank.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Oh, the Franks, the Frank Turners, or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was Who Shot Frank with Feed Me Rocks. And we're going to juxtaposition that, if that's the right word, I don't know, I might have made that up, with Justify by Now Disconnect.
Oh, yes.
Because I think it shows the genres you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know that much about them. Give me something about Now Disconnect.
Well, the incredibly urgent, sort of metally, punky, grungy, but very original kind of band, and they're amazing. I mean, again, I'm not particularly massively au fait with the sort of metal scene, if I'm honest. I'm more of a punk chap, but I just thought I heard a bit of Soundgarden in there, without a doubt. He's got that ability to go from that sort of death metal gargling to very clear, powerful choruses. So it's got commercial sort of overviews as well.
He's got very good voices. Actually,
He's got a voice like, yeah.
So I'm going to show my naivety here, because obviously I've listened to it a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was two different vocalists.
Well, I think there are two guys.
Yeah.
Are there really?
Because we saw two guys.
This
on
is getting
their
out
own.
of hand. Now there are two of them. I didn't know that.
Same, isn't it?
I thought it was the same dude. Anyway, well, whatever.
I think
I mean,
there's two guys.
there's an incredible range of vocal.
yes.
We saw them
We've seen
as a
an-
duo.
We've seen them
Yeah.
doing an acoustic set, two of them.
No
two
way.
singers.
Yeah, we have.
Awesome
Just
singers,
the two
yeah.
of them in Skegness.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Simon Barnabas learning something every day.
Very good. Both voices are amazing.
Yeah, no, I thought
Strong
that, but they're
voices,
just
yeah.
different, and
Really
it's just that
different,
it's just that yin and yang that
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
Obviously, we'd not seen them as the band, so this is
No, this is the first time
band.
with the full fat
Yeah.
version. Yeah, and we're really looking forward. These guys can certainly rock out.
Yeah, and I think if we take Who Shot Frank and Now Disconnect, this shows the diversity.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Two ends of a spectrum, and yeah, absolutely, and that's what Bobby's about, really.
I fall awake to bring my fall. Lose my way to find my faults. Ignoring signs, I walk the line. I suffocate to breathe again. Breathe again.
So now disconnect there with Justify. And I maintain there are two singers in that. We're back once again with Liz and Terry and Simon Barnabas. And I say Liz and Terry as a oneer because they are both from Hedgehog Reality,
Thank you.
who I've actually followed around.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been a bit,
Wow.
been a bit of a cyber groupie
Oh, good.
because I've been in the band myself. You want to see what the opposition's like. No, you just look around different things. Who gets booked where, who. Which brings me back to BOBI.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, you've got no genre. You want everything. You want everything original.
Yeah.
You've got no...
no money. We've got no money.
I was going to say no politics involved in what kind of music you want, but no money either, right? So
Well,
you may have
changed.
just opened up a kind of sore there. Go on. So go on. Let's talk money.
Let's talk money, Simon.
Well, I mean, we were penniless pretty much, and
We're
we set.
putting our hand in our pocket.
Well, you two were.
For a little
Me and
bit.
Marv weren't because we were
No.
just
No,
terrible.
you-
but
no, you were
no,
terrible.
but like we would, beg, borrowing, and stealing. We had a very kind donation of a mixing desk
We
from the
did.
Suburban Toys.
Oh,
Bless
they were
them.
Fabulous.
What a lovely band.
Vince, wasn't it?
Vince, yeah, like just gave us a mixing, like a proper one. It was old school, but my days it works. Anyway, and we got bits and bobs here and there. Anyway, long story short, we did apply to the very, very cool Boston.
Town Area Committee.
I always get that right.
TAC.
Yeah.
And I bet they know what BOBI stands for straight away,
Oh,
and you
they
can't
do.
remember what they're called.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were incredibly kind, and they gave us a startup grant of about
About
a grand,
1,000, yeah.
and that really helped because
It
then we
really
could get some
helped.
proper bits and
Yeah.
bobs to put it together.
Yeah.
And they've reprised that kind offer again, and we're just incredibly thankful. And I think that they seem to have a very wise ability to choose what's best for the town, and thank goodness that they're not just giving it to like businesses and I don't know the traditional stuff. They're actually looking at the arts movement, and they also fund a lot of the our European friends in Boston, which is really lovely because I think that's one of the things that makes Boston good. Is all the different nationalities that go there. We're very pro-immigration, so all good. And they've done that, and they're basically this time they want a podcast out of it. And
the slave drivers.
They're slave drivers.
yeah, I didn't think they'd take me seriously.
They did.
Yeah,
What are you going to do? Oh, podcast. Oh, go on then. What?
yeah. Well, I mean, I think nowadays you've got to be a CEO. You've got to be on it on social media, and it's all about reels, isn't it? And about content. So why not do a podcast? And I'm a complete noob about it, and you guys are going to help more with maybe with the production side. But
Terry looks a bit frightened about that, but I think
Terry's really excited about
Yeah,
that.
that's-
oh, that's excited.
So
Look,
that's the
okay, fine.
exciting bit.
The editing is the
it's the best bit.
interesting bit.
Yeah.
I think we could do a good one. We'll get used to it and have all the bands on, in time. Get the bands to come along and talk about themselves in a way that I can't because I'm not the band,
No, but BTAC is not the only
No, it's not.
sponsorship we got because this year we also got a grant from the Arts Council,
Yes.
which
Look at you, Switzy Swoo.
I know.
yeah,
I know.
which we were we was quite
Yeah.
surprised or very pleased about.
Very pleased and very surprised.
We
I
were.
think we were very conscious that we have made a promise to our bands
Yeah.
that we are going to pay them some cash no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
And that is something that we're striving to do, isn't it, with this funding? It's going to help us out.
And
it'll
Liz,
keep
you've
us
just
going.
mentioned that in podcast one, so that is now in law.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, from day one, we said we'll pay the
Yeah.
bands 25 quid no matter what.
And
Even if that's just petrol money or whatever,
And
but
plus
it's something.
10% of the door,
10% of whatever
Yeah.
comes in the door.
which often
doesn't
cover the initial £100 to
Yeah.
start with, but
But we're doing it.
yeah, we're
And
doing
we'll
it.
keep
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And I have in the studio Liz and Terry Martin from Hedgehog Reality and also Simon Barnabas from Tiny Forehead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, I'm particularly interested because I was stupid enough to try and organise things for the last 30 years, and I then give it to charity. Thumbs up, but it costs a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Now, you said you got an Arts Council grant.
Yeah.
But that can only take you a certain amount of distance. So what else is in the pipeline?
As far as finances are concerned, difficult to say. It depends on how successful the gigs are, really, isn't it?
Does.
We've got an exciting new venture where we're partnering with Blackfriars Theatre in Boston, who wanting to bring on board live music. And we've got a couple of events in the pipe, haven't we? One that's happening really soon.
7th of June.
7th of June, and that's going to be a metal night because, interestingly, our biggest Bobby night was a metal night. And it went down so well, we thought, well, why not grace the theatre with some heavy metal
really
type
loud music.
Yeah, not for the faint-hearted. So that's really exciting. And that's one venture, but there's quite a few, isn't there, like things we're thinking of using.
Mm.
You've got to be inventive. You've got to account for every penny. We've obviously got the podcast going to be going forward, and that'll be on YouTube and some kind of audio option.
Yes, the contractual obligation podcast.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and obviously there is equipment that we need to buy, so some of that money is for that, isn't it?
I mean, I don't. I'm not trying to pry for figures, but when I started organising mountain bike races in the early 90s. And there's all these things you don't cater for. When they go, you got insurance?
No.
Have you got St. John's Ambulance? What?
No.
You got SIA funded people? Say what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Organise the police.
Well, that's one of the benefits of being at the Queen of Spades, because we don't need security staff because it's just outside of the main town centre. So
Yeah.
otherwise, that would just cost us out of it.
That we
would
couldn't
do.
put on anything to get a security guard. And apparently, in the middle of Boston, there's a bylaw where you have to have door staff. I think it's like not an option. But we never have any trouble at Bobby anyway.
Never have any trouble. Everyone's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Doesn't that just say it all about the inverted commas alternative scene? It's like the more extreme the music, like the more death metal, the nicer the people are.
Yeah.
Like
It does.
it's like, but like all the trouble seems to happen at Ed Sheeran concerts, doesn't it?
Well, that's because the music doesn't take the violence out of you, does it?
No.
With Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
But like seriously, we've got goths, metalheads, punks,
all
mixing together, and not even a hint of trouble. And I think that's been going over a year now, and like I've never once ever have we like worried like
No,
so
not at all.
that's amazing, really. And so we're just trying to diversify and keep the show going. We're completely open to new ideas. We're really excited to have all this money, which is considerable. Quite daunting. Didn't expect to
It's
get
considerable for us.
it. For us, it is. Yeah.
But as I was intimating,
Crumbs,
things eat it up.
They
I
do,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we get the new mixer, that's like $2,500, and that's more than half the money we got.
Yeah.
Well, that's if we but it's scary, isn't it?
It is scary, but you have to do these things. And we took a risk at the beginning with nothing.
Well, we did,
Didn't we?
And the whole idea was to create a scene, if you like, in Boston.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the nights it really does feel like we're creating original music scene.
And Terry, you're right. I mean, it seems a lot of money on a mixer, but having organised events, if you invite all those people from all that distance, both the bands and the audience, and then you turn up
And you haven't got
And
with
it
a
fails.
40-watt bleeding
Exactly.
speaker, and they go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to have something that's sustainable
Yeah.
and does the best for the band.
Exactly.
Well, the mixer we've got,
It's
the
amazing.
Tiny
Yeah.
Four,
Suburban Toys.
Suburban Toys gave us is awesome,
It's a good
and
mixer.
the
It's just
speakers,
old.
and the speakers that we've got, they're old as well, but they're excellent.
They're out of Noah's
Really good
Ark, basically, but they.
super sound.
Yeah, I mean, playing with Forehead around the country, the Bobby PA is superior, I would say, to 80% of what's out there. But it is elderly, and, some of the knobs have fell off the old mixer, and some of the channels have got like a
Don't
a
work.
red sticker
do not
saying,
use,
do
Do
not
not
plug
use
in.
with
that
a
one.
skull and crossbone on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Exactly.
If you turn this on, the universe will
It won't come back
implode.
on
Yeah.
again.
And
And the answer will no longer be 42.
so we got to be responsible. The thought of anyone in Tiny Forehead having to be responsible in itself is quite stressful.
I mean, look what you've done.
Yeah.
You've created a band and then said we've got to be responsible. What?
Yeah.
I know.
What?
I know. I noticed I'm the only one they're sending to Bobby. Like that's probably. a bad. I'm not sure that's a good choice, but anyway, yeah, a lot of thinking to do, and we want to keep the ethos of paying bands as much as we can pay, and we do concede it can be quite modest, but it's basically ultimately the sky's the limit on the door. We can get people to come, and like any small music promoter, we are fighting a mixture of indifference and a mixture of other events clashing that you couldn't possibly think about. And it's a mystery. I mean, I do think metal is a great genre, but we thought we'll put metal on. We didn't really expect it to go that well, and blimey, it was the best-selling night. And then we get a load of, all our bands are great. Put a load of bands together we think will pull loads of people through the door, and it's like tumbleweeds. And you can't gauge it, can you?
No, you can't.
Swings and roundabouts.
You say that the metal night was the best, but it was actually the first night was the best.
And I think that was because you had young people in from Boston.
And
Well,
I think
best,
because
I mean, like,
because it was new as
punters-wise,
well.
yeah.
I think people were excited that something.
Yeah.
They just
Something
wanted to
new.
come along and see what was going on.
And we're beginning to see faithful faces coming back,
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
which is really exciting.
Yeah.
We have regulars.
We do have regulars. I mean, how nice to have regulars. And I mean, I get a bit stressed with, like, how can I put it? I go on autopilot, and I'm not really present some of the time. But there are times when
That's
I've.
what it is. I've
Yeah,
noticed
that's
that.
My wife's told me I do that.
Yeah, it's not just the snake biting black. And
It's the thinking.
but there are times I do literally have a moment where I sit back and look at all the people
What
and
we're
think,
doing.
my goodness, we've done this.
Yeah.
Like, how did we get here? You know, and how cool is it that you actually stamp in someone's hand? And
Yeah, we still do the
We
old
still
school
do,
thing.
the old
We thought
school
people
stamp.
like that, don't they? They
At
like
this point,
being-
I'm making a fist in the air. Yeah, old school.
yeah, exactly.
Stamp my wrist, so I'm trying to get rid of it a week
Yeah.
later. Brilliant.
Yes, that's it.
You're honest as well. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't get rid of it.
Let's go clean these streets. So what has changed, but our hearts still beat. Raging tide of days and nights, trapped in
It's Interplanetary Trash Talk, their 5-piece punk band from Nottingham, who are still talking, in fact, while I'm trying to talk. But they're another one from the Cache, that is BOBI, as in CACHE, people, not cash. Cachet. Am I saying that right, anybody?
Don't know.
I bring you back to Liz and Terry and Simon from BOBI, which this show is all about. Yeah. What's the future, and what would you like to happen with BOBI, Bobby?
Oh, where do I begin? Well, I think one of the things we want is to get a guaranteed sellout for every show involving a base of committed people who come every month. And then obviously people coming specifically for the bands playing that month. I mean, that would be amazing. We want to basically nick what I think places like the New Adelphi and Hull have done, where it looks to me like it sells out just about every time they put anything on. And I think that's great. And it was such a friendly... We played there once, Tiny Forehead. And it was full house, not because it was, although we did bring a minibus, but basically it was like this...
Just sleeping on the way back.
Yeah, throw that in. But no, we brought a few of our own, but it was like a really eclectic mix. We literally had goths in one corner and people who just walked out of work in suits in the other, and it was lively, there was a conga going on, and that's part of what we want to achieve. And then I think the other thing is just like the ability to evolve. And we would love to have the money to do, some bands, inverted commas, who've made it, to bring in, to grow it.
Yeah, some names that people come to see, and then, that support was really good.
Yeah. And I hasten to add, I don't think bands, inverted commas, who've made it are any better than the amazing bands we've already put on. I'm not a big thing about...
They're just more widely heard.
But they are people,
that's right.
They bring in bodies,
and
that's what we want. And, I'm excited about the future. That side of the future is something we want to do.
How big's the media strategy for Bobby?
I'm glad you asked, Matt.
I can read my notes.
Yeah, we have a lot of input and amazing help from a lady called Emma, who's amazing. She does a lot of the posters and this and that. But like many things, she's got her own stuff to be doing. And her husband's the very talented Matt Aylett, who's an artist in his own right, doing sort of Americana stuff. So what we'd like is, we've approached companies, haven't we? We've approached, like, for instance, I think it was Yamaha, and we got an initial sort of
a bite.
A bite.
Yeah.
But then it went off steam a bit, and we do wonder whether it wasn't so much they didn't want to do anything with Bobby. It was more like it might got lost in the corporate corridors about whose department would do it. But what we were saying is that we don't really want like Yamaha mics or Yamaha guitar stands or whatever. We'd like Yamaha to fund, for instance, like a very energetic, extroverted media manager, so that actually we could get Bobby doing all the right algorithms and do you know what I mean? Like selling it.
So you can take your product and it goes to the right eyes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And because I think half the venues and bands and you name it sort of fail, inverted commas, is because you just don't get that final connection. And it's incredibly complicated. I mean, it's a full-time job, hence why I'm saying they fund somebody to do it. As hard as we do try, and we give it 200%, don't we? We do, but it is literally really a full-time job, isn't it? You'd have to be just doing this.
Take that on as a job, yeah.
I mean, Tommy, we sort of somehow get away with not doing half the corporate boring stuff we probably should be doing, but it's hard enough, booking bands and
promotion is so important.
It is,
which is what I found out when I was publishing, that you just got to keep hitting it somehow. You got to find an avenue.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. Like you say, it's a full-time job, really, just doing that.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't push the radio show. I don't push my band. Yeah. That's my problem, because it's not my genre. It's, you've got to be out there banging that drum. And if you're not the kind of drum banger, it's hard to become a drum banger, isn't it? So like you said, a media person who actually gets excited about doing that and knows the ways to do it that's what your catapult is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, even like in Tiny Forehead, I mean, I'm generally getting the gigs. Now, we do get gigs, and we're getting more and more gigs. It's really exciting, blah, blah, blah. But I'm an introvert,
Really?
Yeah.
The man in the mask said he's an introvert.
Yeah, but I mean, people think that a front man can't be an introvert. I'm not.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Absolutely
Yeah.
with you on that. I fronted our band for 13 years and I just don't want to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about how you really feel, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I can be life and soul of the gig, do all the dad jokes and whatever, and I'm an introvert. I have to lie down in a dark room for 3 days afterwards, and that includes making calls to promoters or emails, quite literally.
Yeah.
Whereas Tilly, the other singer, who's extrovert, she goes on to club after she's done the gig.
Just
What's
shows
taken
you the
her,
difference between two people.
and I'd like,
Yeah.
and I'd pay to not go to a club, like literally.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny? So bringing that into Bobby, it's like it. How can I put it? I do the biz, but it has a cost, and what you really need is a Del Boy trotter, don't you?
Yeah,
Someone who loves
who's-
the old game and the banter,
and passionate about everything.
ringing up everybody and the dog, and loving it while they're doing it. That's what you want.
You'll all be millionaires tomorrow.
in silent house. Walls that whisper, let me out. Light beyond the hunting ground. Broken words that can't be found. Only time will tell if I can understand. Read between the lines and tell me what you see. Only light beneath the sky. One way out, one way Only time will tell if I can understand. Read between the lines and tell me what you see. Only light beneath the sky. One way in, one way out.
LA 203 here on a Monday evening, and we're back with BOBI. That's the Boston Original Bands Initiative, and it's Liz and Terry from Hedgehog Reality. I'm not being sponsored to say that. I just like saying it.
You just like saying it.
Yeah, and Simon Barnabas from Tiny Forehead. Now, we've discussed the diversity of the bands that are of BOBI.
Yeah.
Interplanetary Trash Talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just got a blurb that says they're a 5-piece punk band.
Yeah. Oh, they're far more, Matt. I mean, what a great name, by the way. It's one of them names you think, my days. But yeah, I mean, again, I've listened to some of their tracks. We were desperate to get them on board, and high energy. It sort of comes across like it's DB-esque punk, female vocalist, but incredibly skilled riffing going on. And I heard sprinkles of other stuff, you know, out of genre, but I'd call it, you know, thinking man D-beat, full of energy, and some of the song titles are really interesting. Well, it was a British colonialism. It was one of them.
Colonialism.
No, it wasn't colonial. It was,
Colonial.
yeah.
I think that's the subtlety.
Yeah. And there you go. So like really interesting band, high energy, very tight, and that's just part of that range, isn't it? On our night coming up. What a bunch of different genres in one room.
Thought Hooligans. What's your thought on the Thought Hooligans?
Well, I'm excited about all of them, but I really am excited about seeing the Thought Hooligans because to me, I heard a lot of what is known as C86 going on, which is that sort of, how can I put it, energetic, positive, minimally produced. It's got a female vocalist, very catchy. That's some of the aspects, I guess, of C86. I heard a bit of Birds in there as well, the Birds. I think there's a bit of a country tinge in them, and I'm a big fan, dare I say it, Tiny Forehead. The two singers in Tiny Forehead both like country. Tilly particularly
right, that's
likes,
it. Get off the podcast.
Yeah. I know. Sorry, mate. When I said country, let me mean... No. Basically, Country Store by Kellogg's I like, the cereal. No, joking. No, it's Tilly likes country, straight-laced country, and I like alternative country. So the Uncle Tupelos of this world. And I like a bit of Americana, like Matt Aylett. So, so interestingly, I heard a bit of country in there, and I was intrigued. And, what a band. They're from Lincoln, and what a track.
And another one to give their time on the 31st of May.
Yeah,
which has actually gone, but, you know, we're here talking about it tonight.
We're doing a bit of time travel, Matt, aren't we, today?
Yeah.
This morning.
At no extra cost. Brilliant.
Afternoon.
Where are you going with this, and what do you need, and who have you had on the way that's been brilliant?
Yeah. Oh, where do we begin? Well, I mean, first of all, the BOBI team. Right, so I'll say this on behalf of Liz and Terry. They're the backbone, the financial stability, the common sense, but also the ability to take risks. So whilst I might have come up with it with my head in my hands at some pub with Terry, it was Terry who made it happen. And actually, it was built upon the shoulders of what you'd set up before, Terry. You and I believe Hayley from
Uncovered.
From the
Hayley
Uncovered.
Chapman, yeah.
So you know, like most things, Matt, you know, there's nothing new under the sun, but it's a reinvention. But we are very thankful of our forebears, as it were. So the Uncovered crew, and that's Hayley from Free to Decide and Terry, and then with the BOBI thing, can't forget Marv, the amazing Marv.
Yeah.
Marv is our punk.
The Mad Marv.
Yeah. He's our sort of punk attaché, and Marv does all the fluid in the animal bag. He does all the connection with people and the after the gig chatting with people, which may indeed include a beer or two. Yeah. And he does the fanzine. Can we just say what a brilliant fanzine? I mean, Marv does his own fanzine called Gadgie, and he's been doing that since God was a boy. But he's also got he's been doing the Penny Dreadful with the BOBI fanzine, and he does a lot of hard work, and he does a brilliant zine. So big up Marv. And then we've got, like I've mentioned, Emma, who does a lot of our artwork. She's like the Terry Gilliam, the silent sort of partner, as it were, BOBI. But we are looking for more BOBI people, aren't we?
Yes, we are indeed.
Co-conspirators.
Yes, we do.
And particularly for the podcast, because look, I'm not being funny. I've got my Hello Kitty mask, and I keep the mask on, and you don't want that. So we're looking for other presenters, And I guess really the only prerequisite, we're not bothered what gender, what age, really.
No.
We just ask for energy, and we ask for someone who's passionate about local original music. And I know we go on about original, like those terrifying shopkeepers from the League of Gentlemen. Are you local? But like original, I mean, fair play to cover bands, bless them. But there's too many.
Well, even mine.
The whole scene's saturated, and you know what I mean. Cover bands, particularly good cover bands, they make a ton of money and good on them. But unfortunately, the local people who write their own stuff and get off the butts to write their own stuff don't often see any money or any exposure. So we're really into that. Boston, there isn't a lot going on in the original scene. We are pretty much it. There is Dan Arthurs, who puts together the Punk for the Homeless, so I want to give them a big shout out. And that obviously raises money for an orphanage in Africa, and the bands don't get paid. They give up their time to do that. So that's good. But really, outside of that and Bobby, once in a blue moon, other venues might put on a couple of originals, but it's really just cover bands, you know. So you have to be passionate about original music, right? And I think anybody who writes their own stuff and gets on the stage deserves respect, deserves to be heard, and that literally goes from anything right through to saccharine country, right through to death metal. You deserve to be up there.
I think you're absolutely right, and even though I'm in a dirty covers band,
Yeah.
the Lincoln Alternative is about local singer-songwriters doing their thing.
Doing their thing.
Yeah.
And it's a talented scene. I guess anybody from any county
yeah.
will say how good the scene is. But I have to say, Lincolnshire is exceptionally good. And I include like Peterborough, which is North Cambridgeshire, Unitary in that as well.
Hang on, we've just redone the boundaries.
Well, I mean, Bobby, to be honest, we've got to focus on Lincolnshire people, but we do welcome anybody from anywhere.
We do,
Quite literally, you're welcome. And we've had bands down from Sheffield and Leeds and, like I say, Peterborough and beyond. But the Lincolnshire scene's amazing. And, you know, again, you could shout out people forever, couldn't you? But, like, you think of people like the Shug studio community, Fish and Crim. Crim teaches my daughter drums. Big shout out to them. They have put so many young, inverted commas, alternative musicians onto stages. And they are like a hub. And the talent, you know, coming through. And some of the bands we put on at Bobby are like 15 years old, aren't they? And
well, we have had really young ones.
like, and that's just, like, you know, I'm humbled how good these bands are.
Age range is,
you know, we've had
huge,
Chekhov's gun, haven't we? And like,
Yeah.
they're just teenagers, you know.
LA203 in the studio with BOBI Bobby, and it's time for the roundup. Now, you've been filming this for a podcast, haven't you?
Hopefully it's worked, yes.
We're going all tech here.
we hope, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So this show, LA203, was all about the Boston Original Bands Initiative. And it was all about Simon, Liz and Terry, who've made it happen. Now, this is your last chance to go. It was all us and nobody else.
Yeah. It was actually, wasn't it?
I'm afraid so, yeah.
I'm afraid so, yeah.
Well, the Bobby bit was, but, you know,
Yeah.
we were on our shoulders of other people, weren't we?
We
Without all the other bands as well.
Well, I think the biggest shout out, Matt, is to the bands themselves.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds cheese on toast
Yeah,
saying
no,
that,
it's
doesn't
not
it? But
cheese.
it's not.
No.
It's like, I can't tell you. I mean, literally, you can count on less than one hand the bands who haven't really pulled the weight and have been a bit of a pain. Everybody is.
He's looking at me now, by the way, go on.
Yeah.
Watching you.
I'm looking at everybody in this mess. Can't tell. Every band's given 200%. And
They have.
I have to say, the
Yeah.
Bobby performances have been amazing.
Enthusiastic, fabulous, yeah.
I mean, really amazing. And again, I can actually quantify that because I'm out there on the scene, touring around Britain, and I see bands who don't give it 200% at all a lot of the time, but Bobby bands do. And a lot of energetic people come along, and it's been a joy. It makes it a joy, doesn't it? It makes it worth it.
Yeah,
It
oh,
does,
yeah,
definitely.
Because if you were literally dealing with like morose, ignorant people who couldn't be bothered, then bye-bye.
Again, he's looking at me.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. No.
I can't tell, he's got a mask on.
I can't help myself. I just have such criticisms of you, Matt. Yeah, no, that's what keeps us going, I think, on the dark
It
nights,
is, yeah,
isn't it,
it
of the
is,
soul?
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
the bands thinking, my goodness, we've got this, like tonight, we've got these 4 amazing, literally, bands who I know are going to knock it out of the park. And that keeps you going. So I want to thank you to all the bands. Keep applying, people. If you're an original band, I couldn't care less what genre, quite literally, get in touch on the Bobby pay on the website, which is
Boston.
Bobby what?
Bobby.Boston.
Bobby.Boston,
Yeah.
And we're putting together the 26 lineups, and we shall almost guarantee you a spot. and that's it's going to continue.
Right.
And
so
if you're a fan
sorry,
of
Terry, I don't want to
original
cut you off. Go on.
If you're a fan of original music,
then
make sure you come along to our gigs regularly, and you'll be surprised.
That's the thing. Come along, all right. Don't go at the football match. Don't go to the Black Sabbath reunion that cost £300 million to stand in the back with binoculars. Come to see local bands. We're talking like £7 on the door for 4 bands and a DJ. I mean, that's like less than a round of drinks.
That's
like, come along. And it all goes to the bands, I hasten to add. The bit we keep on the door is just the £100 for the next time, however
so that you can actually perpetuate the
it's
Bobby.
perpetuation. We literally don't make a penny. Not that there's anything wrong, I hasten to add, with promoters making a living off promoting, but we don't, because we want to give it all to the bands.
It's just not what Bobby's all about.
No.
It is,
So come along, guys.
Almost a charity, aren't we?
Charity? Don't like to talk about it, mate.
Just spent the last hour talking about it, by the way. I would like to thank you all for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Liz. And thank you, Terry.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Good luck with Bobby.
Thank you.
And good luck with the podcast.
Thank you.
And good luck with... I'm just hoping lots of sponsors come on board.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
That'd be
mate.
lovely. Thank you for having us.
No
Thank
worries.
You. Appreciate it, Matt. And thanks for what you do for the scene.
Yes.
We again, not just an empty platitude, Matt. Your kind of station, your kind of program is keeping local music going, mate.
Yeah.
So keep it up.
That's very nice. I always feel like there's a quote, the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
And there's one bloke in it who said, I was the mouse in the Rat Pack. I feel like that,
Really?
I'm the mouse in the Rat Pack of Lincolnshire independent music.
I tell you, Matt, like, let me, from a personal perspective from Forehead, you're one of the first stations to play us, and it's like there's nothing quite like it to hear your stuff
your
on
own music on there. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Like, I kid you not, there's nothing like it. You think, my days, we've actually got it out there, and like there's a DJ who actually wants to play it, and there's got to be a good few people listening to this. And it's beautiful, Matt. So please keep it up, mate. Never give up.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed this 203rd edition of the Lincoln Alternative Bobby Special. If you want to be featured, just drop a line to the radio station care of Matt Tuck with CDs or a link to your music. Remember that anybody who's involved in the programme gets a metal pin badge. You're going to get a metal pin badge. Oh, yeah, I know. You looked excited then.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
As we spare no expense on this show, a reminder that we will soon have the return of John Ives and Panther Dog in session.